Agenda of the session. In this session, we'll be understanding the introduction related to Angularjs, and we can see how Angularjs source can be imported from angularjs.org website. Okay, and we'll be also understanding how to download Angularjs file or use a CDN. And most of the people are from jQuery background. They will be asking a commonly same question like what is the difference between the Angular and jQuery. That also will be covering. Okay, and we'll be discussing how to download a software called as a Visual Studio Code, which is commonly used for web application development. Okay, and we'll be also implementing some examples related to AngularJS. This will be the agenda of the session. Guys, in the meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can raise your question using the chat window. In case if you want, I can unmute and you can ask me the questions. So first of all, what exactly AngularJS? See, AngularJS is one of the JavaScript framework. It's one of the JavaScript framework which is used to develop web applications at client side. I repeat, if you want to develop any web application at client side, you will be using this AngularJS. Okay, let's understand AngularJS, why it is used in detail. So first of all, if you remember, what is a web application? When you're talking about a web application in the sense, it is an application generally located in a server computer. So server computer in the sense it's nothing but a software only. Okay. So web application is nothing but a software which will be available in a server computer. This is what exactly web application. Now you may ask a question, why you want a web application to be available in the server computer? Very simple. Web applications are available in the server computer so that you can make these applications available in the network. If you remember, like Gmail, Facebook, Yahoo, etc., all these are the web applications. Why these web applications? Web applications are available to make this application accessible from the clients. So client in the sense, a computer which is going to be operate your application anywhere, okay, using internet. This is what exactly called as a web application. So why web applications? Web applications are used to develop client server architecture based applications. Now what happened? A client communicates to the server using a LAN cable or an internet so that he can develop he can communicate with the application. This is what exactly a web application is. So web applications are client server architecture based applications. See guys, if you are from any technology, how did we create the web applications? In case if you want to develop any web application, we have used either ASP, it can be JSP, it can be PHP, or it can be Node.js, etc. You can understand that using any one of these frameworks, using one of these web specifications, we have developed the web applications. I repeat, web applications are the applications developed using web specifications like ASP.NET, JSP, PHP, Node.js, etc. This is the specification which is used for developing the web applications. Now, what exactly web application is? Web application is an application which will be available in the web server, in the centralized server, through web browsers like clients. They can communicate to the web application. Now here the concept is, when we have a good number of clients, what happens, each and every client will be communicated to the server. Now my question is, when these many clients are communicating to the server, what happens, server side burden will be increased. If you remember Yahoo, Gmail, ICICI Bank, etc., they'll be having lakhs and lakhs of the customers. When lakhs and lakhs of the customers are communicating to the server side burden will be increased. Now the thing is, I want to reduce the burden at the server side. So we have an application that we have a facility that application at client side. What I can do is application at client side. So how to develop web application at client? It is possible using AngularJS. So what is AngularJS? So AngularJS is a JavaScript framework which is used to develop web application at client side. Now what is the advantage of web application at client side? Browser will have the application with you. when you open any browser, this is my browser and this browser will have an application. When the browser is having an application, this application will be existing in the client computer, so that what happens, entire burden will be at client side. Whenever it is necessary, then the client communicates to the server, so that what happens, client side application located, so server side burden will be reduced. This is the main purpose why you need to have web application at client computers. I repeat, AngularJS is used to develop web application at client side, which will reduce burden in the server side. Nowadays, every web application which is going to be developed using ASP, JSP, PHP, Node.js, irrespective of any technology, they can have their web applications, okay, with Angular. Now every professional, either the professional belongs to .NET, Java, Node, PHP, whatever it may be, okay, they are going to be implementing client-side web applications using Angular. This is what exactly called as AngularJS. So AngularJS is one of the JavaScript framework which is used to develop web applications at the client side. Okay, and JavaScript framework like AngularJS is completely open source. What do you mean by open source in this point is the AngularJS source is available as a text file. As a programmer, he can see the script and he can change the necessary things related to your Angular. Right? AngularJS is used to develop dynamic and interactive web applications at client side in a simplified and declarative way. This is what exactly Angular. AngularJS is a JavaScript framework used for web application development at client side. Okay, and it's completely open source. You know the meaning of an open source. I can show you the AngularJS script directly. As a programmer, you can see the AngularJS code directly. Now coming to the next one. What kind of architecture supported in Angular? See here, unlike other technologies, AngularJS is not what will be called tightly coupled with a particular architecture. AngularJS, okay, is completely what will be called MV star architecture. What do you mean by MV star architecture? It's a pattern which is commonly used in real-time web application development. Okay, what patterns are supported in Angular, which will be called as a MV whatever. MV whatever in the sense model view with whatever you are expecting it is available. Example, MVC, model view controller. It's a pattern which is commonly used these days. Your application logic, business logic and controller, what will be called presentation logic will be separated. So your MVC architecture can be implemented using Angular. MVVM architecture, model view, view model. MVP architecture, model view presentation. Irrespective of anything, MV star architecture or MV star pattern is supported. So as an AngularJS programmer, you can use any kind of pattern which is related to MV whatever. Okay, MVC, MVVM, MVP. And our examples will be on using MVC architecture. We are going to be discussing MVC architecture in our Angular. And our programming will be used with the help of the JavaScript. And once AngularJS is completed, we'll be taking you the Angular 2 concepts. In that, I'm going to be teaching you the TypeScript. So TypeScript and Angular 2 plus will be explained to you with what will be called examples, real-time examples. Right. So AngularJS is loosely coupled architecture. Coming to the next one, what kind of applications developed in Angular? So the important thing is we are going to be developing SPA kind of application. What do you mean by SPA? SPA in the sense single page application. What do you mean by single page application? I can have entire project in the same page itself. Okay, let's understand what is SPA. See here, my question is, this is my one web form. This is a web form. In my web form, what I want to do is, I would like to have two parts. Okay, top pane, bottom pane. Now here the thing is, I will have something called as a options here. OPT1, let's say OPT2. Now question is, whatever the option I select, the respective page to be displayed here. If I click on the second option, the respective page to be displayed. So you can understand that one page, my entire application will be available. And these kind of applications are called as a SPA. SPA stands for single page application. Some people will also call it, say, OPA, one page application. Now AngularJS is used to develop SPA kind of applications, single page application, right? And it is completely route based. What do you mean by route based? Simplified URL, www.yourcompanyname.com, okay? So followed by something called /employees. You can have employee list, like this will happen. For example, you want to have something called as a products. I can have this. Okay, here I can have something called as a sales. So you can understand that your application implementation happen using this concept, and this is called as a routing. So using Angular, we can develop SPA kind of application with routing. A simplified URL interaction is possible using Angular. I repeat, AngularJS is a loosely coupled architecture with MV whatever, model view controller, model view view model, MVP patterns can be implemented. Coming to the next one, SPA kind of applications will be developed using Angular with routing. And Angular, we have one more facility, very famous feature is available, binding framework. What do you mean by binding framework? When we have what will be called code separation and what will be called presentation separation. See, your presentation will be happen using HTML. HTML is your presentation window, and your data will be maintained in the form of a JSON objects models. Now the thing is, AngularJS is a binding framework. You do any changes in the HTML, we can make it effect immediately in the JSON objects. If you do any changes here, you can see the changes immediately in the frame. You need not to even apply. Such kind of powerful framework is binding expression. Today itself we'll be discussing some example on the binding expression. This is what exactly called as a Angular. So Angular is also called as a binding framework. And next one, in AngularJS, there is a very powerful feature called as a dependency injection. What do you mean by dependency injection? Dependency injection is nothing but a logic which is dependent. Now what I can do is, a logic can be injected to another logic. Let's say one logic is there, that logic I want to inject to some other thing. It is possible using dependency injection. We have a lot of built-in classes. We have something called as a $HTTP, $route provider, something called as a $log, etc. These logics we can inject to our own logics. This is also very powerful feature related to Angular. Right, yes. And next one, Angular is created and maintained by the Google company only. Okay, nowadays Angular is completely under the control of Google. Okay, initially it was developed by Misco Havry and Adam Abons in 2009. Okay, but now it's completely from the Google. If you want to go for an Angular, just open your browser. You can try for angular.org. So angularjs.org. So it's an official website for AngularJS. It's an official website for AngularJS. So now what you can do is, you can download the Angular or you can try the Angular, whatever you feel comfortable with. Right. So this website is completely maintained by the Angular only. Just click on the download button. What happens, you have the facility where we can download the Angular. There are two ways to use Angular. One is Angular CDN. This CDN you can copy and put it in your file. Let's copy this and you can put it in, paste it in any URL. You can see the complete Angular related script file is visible. So this is the AngularJS script. See, Angular, it's not a software, it's not a hardware, it's not a package. It's just a script file. Right. Wherever you have this file with you, okay, you can have your Angular ready. So AngularJS is available by importing this script file to your file. There are two options, use a URL or download this file. Use the URL or use the software, what will be called download this file. By using these facilities, we can have Angular available in your system. Am I clear, guys? How simple it is? Need not to what will be called install any software. Just use this URL. Or if you want, you can download a small file will be added to your system. That you need to put it in a separate location. You create a folder and you can start working with Angular directly. Do we need to have any software for Angular or a web application developer at client side? Not required. You need not to have any software. Okay, what we can do is we can use a normal text file also. Okay. What software is required for working with Angular? Do I need to have any software installed? Not required exactly. For working with AngularJS, a sample, an empty notepad is enough. But here we have a facility that there are a lot of IDEs available, okay, in order to develop web applications at client side. Okay, one of the best IDE where everybody using in the industry called as a Visual Studio Code. You can see this is a software which is commonly used for Angular and all what we call client-side web technologies. You can use Visual Studio Code, you can use Eclipse, you can use Visual Studio, you can use Atom, etc. Right, I prefer Visual Studio Code. Why? Because Visual Studio Code is a product from Microsoft. Even TypeScript is also a product from Microsoft, so it is very comfortable for developing what we call client-side web applications. And what about the software? How to get this software? It's free. You can download. Okay, Visual Studio. You can see this is the software. You can get it. I'm going to be giving you the link here. Okay, so this is a link you have to use for downloading Visual Studio Code. Okay, so Visual Studio Code software link. It's a free to download. Right. In this you can see Visual Studio Code. It's a code editing redefined free open source and runs everywhere. Use this software. Okay, it is, you can download this one for Mac, you can download for Windows, or you can download for anyone. There is no rule that it should be used only for Windows operating system. Alright, so AngularJS applications can be used in anywhere where we can use for all operating systems like Windows, Mac, etc. I believe you are here. Now, how to install we have seen. Just over double click it, it will automatically come. Now when you open the Visual Studio Code, when you install the Visual Studio Code, now I'm using the Windows operating system. It look like this. Just click on it. Now what happens, you can see that Visual Studio open. Okay, and it is like a very simple, and it look like a text file kind of things. Okay, you can see that this is my Visual Studio Code. Now what I can do is I can create a new project here. See, there is no project here. You'll be having only the text files, nothing else. Okay, let me close the folder. What I am doing here is I just want to create a folder, nothing else. So just click on new file. When you click on the new file, what's going to be happening? It is ready to create a new file. Right, let's save this. Okay, I'm going to be creating in the E drive. Let me call this one as a batch. Sorry, I'll create a folder. Let's say batch 172 solution, 172 solution. I'll name this one as a batch 172. Now I'll name this one as a something called as a example1.html. That's it. Very simple. Now what I can do, I can have my Visual Studio Code with entire Angular, JavaScript, etc. This is the simplest way to work with Angular. Do I need to have any separate software or anything mandate to be installed? No such kind of restrictions. You can use any editor, whatever you're comfortable. You can use Eclipse, you can use Atom, you can use Visual Studio Code, anything. But Visual Studio Code is a very powerful and an intelligence, okay, environment for developing applications using Angular. I believe you are clear. This is the way how I'm going to use it. Right. Now, how to use Angular? As I said, it's very easy. A small repetition before coming to the examples. Angularjs Advantages. Here I given some of the advantages. Angularjs is client-side web application development framework. It is used to develop web applications at client-side. And we have a facility called as a different types of data bindings we have. We have something called as a one-way data binding, one-time data binding, two-way data binding. We'll be discussing all these things one by one. Inbuilt dependency injection mechanism is available. Develop the SPA kind of applications. Built-in route modules are available so that you can make your meaningful and a simplified URLs. Full testing environments are available. POJOs are used as a what will be called collection. If you are from any Java background or something, you'll be using collections. Here you'll be using plain old Java script objects. Right. So one more question, somebody. So it is the AngularJS binding that we are downloading from the site. Obviously it's a file like source. Okay, it's not binding. So here the source will be provided for that link. Okay, from that link, or we can download as a text file, but it is recommended to use the CDN, right? It's not like binding, right? And full UI support is available. You can use HTML, you can use HTML5, Ajax, okay, etc. Everything is possible. Okay, and we have a lot of built-in animations are available. Built-in what will be called modules are available for animation. Okay, we have very good amount of directives out there. However, you have Angular, I mean HTML tags. We have a lot of directives. ng Angular shortcut ng directives are there. There are a lot of ready-made directives are there, and also allows to create our own directives called as a custom directives, like which are similar to user controls. There are a lot of filters are available, ready-made filters, custom filters. Okay, there are very good number of services are available. Dependency injection services are available. You have HTTP services, log services, Angular spool, route module, location, etc. Okay, and we can also create a lot of customer services, custom services. This is what exactly the what will be called Angularjs. Any questions? So this is what about Angularjs. So let's start explaining with a simple example. I have a simple text editor. Okay, I saved a file called as a .html. As I said you very clearly, AngularJS can be provided at any web page supported pages like HTML, ASP, GSP and node based applications also. How to import Angular? There are two ways. One is generally you are writing HTML. Why Visual Studio Code in the sense it's a very comfortable environment. I need not to write HTML. I simply write HT tab. It will automatically write or complete the text. Head section HE automatically it comes. Script section SC script. Now I can say with src is equal to where is my source? There are two ways. Download that file or you use a AngularJS CDN. So I can say angularjs.org. I can click on this download Angular. Here I can use a CDN. Here the advantage is my Angular source is available from the internet. Later if I expose this application in the what we call network also, those people will get the Angular benefits from this URL. So how simple it is? In your normal HTML, inside the header tag, we wrote script tag and source has been copied from the Angular website. This is how we are going to be working with Angular. How simple it is? Nothing. And if you want to have that one, you can save in your computer also, no issues. Now, in the body section, generally, your Angular binding expressions to be provided like this. Double curly braces. Let's say 10 into 20. Here, if Angular is supported, you are supposed to get 10 into 20 result. Now save this. Okay, this is example one which I saved. Open a browser and try somewhere. It is available in E drive. I given batch 172, I believe. Right. So Angular. Now, what's going to be happening? Whatever you type, that is coming like this. Now it indicates Angular is not working. Why? The reason is this is going to be importing Angular to the page, but that in Angular code to be binded here to the body tag using ng-app. What do you mean by ng-app? Ng stands for Angular. App in the sense import the core model. Now this content what is available in this script file will be attached to this body tag. Now the body is enabled for Angular. Save this, come here and run the project. So refresh. Now Angular is working. Understand is AngularJS is working. If you want to have this one, you need to select this. Right. If you want to have your normal facilities, like I'll say something 10 plus 20, 20 by 5. Save this, come here, refresh. So yeah, able to get the tag. This is a simple Angular. Right. Let me explain you from the starting. I opened one text editor. In the HTML tag, I took one head section. Those who are new to HTML, don't worry. We'll take 1 or 2 sessions on HTML and user interface. Right. In the script tag, I'll say src is equal to within double quotes. I'll give the path. Now in the body tag, I'll say ng-app, and I'll simply say binding expression within double curly braces. Let's say 100 into 350, something. This is Angular is working fine. Now, as I said you that there is a binding expression, binding framework. What it is? Let's say I have a text box. I'm asking enter your name. Simple text I'm giving, enter your name. Let me call this H2 Angularjs binding example. So I'm asking you to give enter your name. Whatever the text you are typing, it is coming as it is. You know that if you want to import, read input from the user, you'll be writing like this. Input to type is equal to text box. So you'll be getting the text box. I have a text box. So this is a text box where we can type input as a. Now the question is, what is binding expression? Very simple. I name this one using ng model. ng-model is equal to name one. Now here I'll simply say hello followed by this name one. What's going to be happening? Run this here. Whatever you type, that is 100% as it is coming. This is called as a binding expression. You type something, it is coming. Right? This is what exactly called as binding expression. So you do something, it will affect immediately. Later, you might go for database connectivity also. The same thing will happen. Not taking a time, which will be automatically happen. H2 head tag. I think some of you are not, no idea on HTML. I'll be taking 1 or 2 sessions on HTML. Right? We'll also take 1 or 2 sessions on HTML. Don't worry. Now, for example, I can have some manipulations also. You might not understand this example straight away, but I'm showing the facility. Try to understand what is binding feature. Okay. So I can say name followed by length is length. So whatever you type, see here, what is your name? Here I'm typing Kiran. So whatever the type I'm doing, that name is going to be given. This much powerful is a binding expression. Let's say you have something called number. Enter number is a question I'm giving. Input type is equal to number. You might not understand this if you don't know HTML, but we'll take this one. Okay. ng model is equal to something called n1. Now I'll be writing n1. The number will be coming. So I'll be writing given number is n1. Very easy. It's in a matter of few minutes you can do. So this is what I will be giving. This is whatever I type, it's coming. Alright, so this is what exactly the binding examples, binding expressions. Very simple it is. Okay, so I believe you are clear what exactly Angularjs and how to write Angularjs example. The content delivery plan. Okay, what are we going to be learning in this Angularjs? Here is a content delivery plan. Here we are targeting to web application development at client side using Angular. This Angular can be implemented in ASP, JSP, PHP, Node, etc. And the content is introduction to AngularJS will be there. Okay, and Angular directives will be there. Binding expressions will be there. This will be for 3 days. Then you will be understanding the HTML concepts and UI designing using HTML with CSS. Okay, this will be of 2 to 3 classes. Then JavaScript concept will be there. JavaScript programming will be available from the, will be discussed from the scratch to JavaScript functions, advanced JavaScript functions will be covered. That will be around of 5 to 6 classes. Then jQuery, a concept of jQuery like DOM manipulation will be covering. Then AngularJS complete programming will be there for around 15 classes. So you can see this. Once everything is done, what I'll do is I'll give you a concept called as a Node.js introduction. What is Node.js? A client-side, server-side, a Node.js is used to develop web applications at server. Now what I'll do is, while doing this one, I will write a service and I'll put my AngularJS file and I'll make my AngularJS file available in my system to mobile phone. This is what we are going to be doing. So this program is of almost 1 month program it is. Right? There is no rule, okay? You can use any editor or IDE like Eclipse, Visual Studio, okay, Atom, Visual Studio Code, etc. There is no rule. You can use any editor, whatever you want to, right? The application, the target is web application developer, right? Any other questions?